You know, that is a good point. And actually, I've changed my take on it really over the years because I think I probably was operating from a very selfish place at that time. I had an agenda, and while I needed somebody in my life, I didn't really need somebody in my life because I had this agenda that was my vision for myself. So I think I was operating from a selfish place. I've changed that since. And you said something here, you can't live by what you don't believe and be a whole, satisfied, and fully functioning person. And that's true. I think that's what came to me over time, that I know I don't like to hike. That was his life. Why would I marry somebody like that? That's a fundamental part of who he was, and he wasn't going to change. Yeah. So since he wasn't going to change, that meant that a whole part of who he was wasn't going to be incorporated in all lives. So I think what you're saying is that people have to get from that place where they're operating in the, I'm over here, he's over there, and come to that place where it's an us.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying if you want to be happy, you might want to think about it. Because I like this. If you want to be sad, who am I to tell you you should be happy? Well, I want you to know there's an option of being happy. And like you said, there's no way that you're going to be a happy, fully functioning person if you cut it off. I mean, physically, that's like, well, can I be fully functioning if I cut off my arm? Well, how you can be fully functioning if one of your limbs is missing? Yeah. So if one aspect of your personality and your soul is gone, how are you going to be a fully functioning, happy person? It doesn't work. Now, you can function, and just like people learn to paint with their mouths and drive with their feet, you can do that. But don't ever get the idea that that's going to be the same as driving with both hands or painting with your hands. It's going to be more difficult. It's going to be more frustrating. You're going to wake up some days and don't want to do it and feel like quitting, and it's because you don't have all of you at the fingertips and the behest of your will, and now you have to try to figure out ways to make do with parts of you that you don't even like using just to maintain just a little bit of sanity, just a little bit.
That's true. That is so true. Now, the next thing, and amazingly, we're almost out of time. Always check the expiration dates and compare it to your cooking schedule. If you don't plan on eating cereal until next week, don't buy milk that expires in a couple of days.
Yeah. See, most of us get together and don't really acknowledge where we're at. So it's like a guy who says, well, I'm not ready for marriage, but if I don't marry her, she's going to leave me. So I'll marry her. Or she's like, well, I really don't want to have sex with him, but if I don't have sex, he's going to find it somewhere else. So what you're basically doing is buying food that you do not plan on using in that time, and either you left with the option of letting it spoil or using it before you want it. So what happens if you eat and you're full? You get sick. What happens if you eat something before it's done? You get sick. So we get sick in our relationships.
That is powerful. And that is happening all around me. I see it all the time. And people don't know what to do. So really, they need to get this book.
Yeah. It would
and
really
actually,
help them.
preferably before they get married, but there's still hope if you're married and you're unhappy to kind of work it out somehow.
I mean, as long as we're breathing, as my father says, as long as you're breathing, you have opportunity to change your life and to do what you want to do. But the question is, do you want to learn how to build a car before you start working on one? Or do you want to start working on one, wreck it, and then have to take it apart and repair it? So it's about that, you know. And so, I mean, if you want the book, it's available. You can go to any major bookstore, and you can visit me online, relationshipcookbook.com. You know, I'll answer your questions, because there's a video blog section I just set up where you can ask me questions, and I'll give you video answers about it for other people. But just relationshipcookbook.com or any major bookseller, you know, it's available there.
The other thing that you just mentioned, your dad, and there was a part in there that you talked about where he had a relationship with somebody who had a lot of drama going on, and I really like the way he worked that, because a lot of people don't have the wisdom or maybe the courage to, or both. To really work that out. You know, they think that if you love me, you have to take all the mess that come with me. You know, or if I love you, I have to be intimate with you, and all these have to things. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, my father basically told the woman, she said, no matter how I've lived my life, you've always been the same. And he's like, that's because I love you for who you are, not who you are to me. See, if I loved you based on who you are to me, then based on how you acted, our relationship would change. He said, but I've always loved you. So you've always been you, right? She said, yeah. He said, that's why I've always been the same. He said, now the distance has changed because I don't believe that you should suffer in the name of love, because love doesn't call us to suffer.
That's for sure.
You know, and we think that because we love somebody, we should go through what they go through. That'd be like saying, you know, well, I love you, so if you drown, I want to drown. It's like, well,
although some people do that in the name of love, but it's really
but, you
not.
know, it's still stupidity. No matter what name you did it in, you know, I could dress up myself like a college scholar, and if I do something foolish, it does not change the fact that I'm a fool dressed up like a college scholar.
Amen to that.
You know, so he let her know that, listen, I will always be there for you, and my love will be unconditional based on you. But I will change how we interact, because love does not call for me to be the fall guy or the fool or to be abused by you. It just tells me that I should be there for you in a loving manner. And if you get totally destructive, I'll stand far enough away that I'm not affected, but close enough that you'll know that if you ever want a hand out of it and you really want to come, I can be there. So that's the way I love. I love unconditionally, because if it's not unconditional, it's not love. It's a deal. You know.
That is so powerful. I wish every guy and every man and every woman would get that love is that's how it should be done. You know, that stuff happens, but I'm here, but I'm not going to take that.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say that. That's deep. Well, we have to wrap up.
Oh,
Could
wow,
you
that was quick.
This book is powerful. If you're thinking of if you're thinking about being in a relationship, please go get a copy of
and
it.
See my beautiful wife on the cover.
And he obviously has a good relationship with his wife.
That's my wife, and that's my editor, and she actually, like I said, she's responsible for the nature of the book, because I was writing a book, but because I didn't have my specialty in it, I made it more of a clinical thing. And she was like, no, baby, put your personality in it. The quality of the work will come through. And she's my editor. She cut out 100.
She knew what she was talking about. Cause
she cut 180 pages from it and turned it into this. And there's a supplement going to that's a workbook that's coming into it that I'm working on now. But that's my baby.
Thank you so much, Anthony Welker, Relationship Cookbook. It is a powerful book. He has a lot to say. Talk to him. Buy the book.